Okay, so we're gonna try this a little differently. This is my friend Sandra. I'm not sure exactly how we get both of us on the screen. Are we both on?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my friend Sandra Crespo. She is an amazing person slash author slash
Mhm.
entrepreneur slash mommy slash all the many hats a woman wears. Okay, Sandra, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. My name's Sandra, and I am a full-time traveling RV family or RV mommy. We travel full-time. We decided to sell pretty much everything we own and hit the road last summer. And since then, we've been to 18 states. It's been the most humbling and amazing experience that I could have ever asked for. I didn't know it was going to be this drastic of a change and just changing our own mindset. And so now we figured out how to work strictly online. And, since then we've written books, we have released courses, and we're just helping other people figure out what their definition of freedom is and get from point A to point B in less time than it took me to figure it out, because I did a lot of failing forward. And so now we kind of help people take a shortcut to get there.
Okay, that's cool. So your book, which is like the highlight of this interview, because I've been reading it and I love it. For those of you that don't know, Sandra's husband, Lewis, also wrote a book. FYI, I'm going to be asking him for one of these interviews too, so heads up.
I'll give him one.
So yeah, she writes Breaking Your Limits, How to Create the Reality You Desire. First of all, I want to ask you, what inspired you to write this book?
So it's been something that maybe a lot of you can relate to this. It's been a thought in the past, like, oh, one day, maybe I'll write a book. But I don't think I ever really thought that I would. It was just like one of those things that you say and you don't really believe it. And we hit the road. Like I said, it's been one of the biggest mind-changing experience. Like, oh man, that would take me forever to just talk about how many changes we have gone through. And I was sitting outside, actually, like right over here. This is the front of our RV, and we had a table set up with Lewis. And he was like, "Man, I need to write a book about my story." And I was like, "Man, I do too. I need to write one about my entrepreneurship journey." And at the time, it was 7 years. Now it's going on 8. And that's kind of how it evolved. And it just and the thing is that we got to it. So in 30 days, like he did his, like, oh my God, he got to it quick, like immediately. And then I started about a week after, like, I think I was gathering all my thoughts. So that's kind of how we masterminded it. And then we just held each other accountable and finished our task.
That's cool. That's cool. Tag team. Like
Yes.
that. I like that. So, okay, like I said, I've been reading the book. I took some notes and I jotted down a couple of questions. So first chapter, right off the bat, you start with like gold. It's amazing. Be grateful. And like the tips you give in there, the examples, all the backstories for yourself and learning how to be grateful. I loved all of that. But I want to know, was it difficult for you to leave behind like negativity or like victim mentality or any of those things? Like, was that even an issue for you?
Not really. I've always been pretty positive myself, like for most of my life. And I think the reason is because I had a pretty good childhood compared to many of my friends or many of, people I've met throughout my life. So of course, I've had moments that it's like, woe is me, but I don't think it was as difficult for me to leave that victimhood mentality.
Okay. So my favorite quote in that chapter was, being grateful creates a thought process of thankfulness that starts a cycle of creativity, new positive possibilities, versus attracting more negative situations into our lives. I loved that line. It just like hit me in the face. a bell sounded or something. Like, I mean, I too have that spirit of gratefulness, and it's something that, because I'm Christian, so that's something that's been put in me from God. So like, I wake up every morning and I thank him for just opening my eyes, for breathing in air, and being alive to play with my kids another day, or what have you. So yeah, that was really big for me. Being grateful, it's like a really huge key. I also liked how you threw in the concept that gratefulness leads to compassion, which leads to strength. That was amazing. I also took away a lot from your self-love chapter, because I had a lot of issues with that growing up. And I loved how you had little challenges and like little dares at the end of each chapter, like really inspiring you to reach higher and stretch your limitations. But one of my favorite chapters, you were discussing challenging yourself. And you mentioned that you challenge yourself every week. What are some of the challenges that you put yourself through?
Well, they vary. And thank you for pointing out, I love hearing from readers, like, what stood out for you. So I love it. Gratefulness to me is huge. Intentionally, I think waking up, and like you said, that's the first thing I do. I'm grateful right now that I can take another breath, because some people are not able to do that at the moment. So I love that. Thank you. And self-love too is huge. But challenges. So, oh man. So for me, it varies, because we're on the road, and it's challenging enough being full-time, running these businesses, and having a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old full-time, plus hubby. So
like another baby, right?
he's my big baby. He's gonna kill me when he sees this.
Oh no.
So I love him, but so my challenges vary every week. So I kind of start out, I love Mondays. I know most people don't like Mondays, but for me, it's probably my favorite day, because I literally feel like it's a fresh new whole new chapter for me. Like, okay, we're going to tackle these goals. So my challenges vary. It kind of depends on the location we're at the moment. We are growing like our YouTube following. So if we are in an area that I know has a lot of like history or things that I know that people want to go look at, so my challenge for that week includes more of that. Like, let's get out, let's videotape, let's enjoy life together as a family, because that's the other thing, that I have to just incorporate my family into everything I do. There's no balancing act, because then I'd probably pull my hair out. So that's that's one of my challenges that I give myself, is to tackle my goals for the week, as far as what I need to do to keep everything flowing as normal as possible. Because we do have, bills that have to get paid, and we do have a family to sustain, and I do have kids that I have to nurture and teach and love. So they kind of vary. And I write them down. That's the biggest thing I can advise everybody, is to write down what your goals are for that week. What challenges are you giving yourself that you need to overcome, as far as stepping out of your comfort zone? I think that's really big. I challenge myself almost every day to come out of my comfort zone. Like, this is uncomfortable for me. Every time I go live on Facebook, I'm nervous. I'm so nervous, but I just force myself to do it. So
that's good. That's good. Stretching out those limitations. I love that. So are there any other tips or tricks that you want to give to my viewers?
Tips and tricks as far as when it comes to ourselves, or anything specific?
Entrepreneurial, anything that pops into your head.
I do want to touch a little more on the self-love, because I think that helps us evolve in all areas. So yeah. I think it is so big, and I never realized how important self-love was. I think honestly, until I started associating with people that had a very challenging childhood. And so they really didn't love themselves. And that's what I started realizing. I realized how much I loved myself. And I realized that it was because of my environment growing up. So what I realized was that I had so much love given to me that I was very confident, you know? So I was able to truly love other people. And so when I'm going to use Lewis as an example, when I got with him, I realized like how broken he was. And I realized that it was just, he never had all that self-love he needed. So I started just genuinely loving him, pouring into him. And so I feel like that really helps when we are able to do that. Now he's able to overpour into other people. And I think that is so big, because when we love ourselves, truly love ourselves, it overflows into everybody around us. I mean, we radiate, and we're able to love our partners, even if we're single, we're able to just love people around us, give them a smile just because, you know, love our kids more, and just be less crabby. We only have so much time left here. We only have so much time on earth, so why not make
I think
the
you're
best
breaking
of it?
up.
Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah, there.
Okay.
Wait, say something else. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so just that love, I think love can change and can really change anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like that that you have a whole chapter just dedicated to that, because it's a really important subject. I am unfortunately being beckoned elsewhere. Kind of have to cut it short. I'm so sorry. I would love to talk a little bit more.
It's okay.
Really quickly, anything you want to say, or, you know, where could my followers? Okay, so as I said, I really love this book. Thank you so much for doing this interview, Sandra. I had so much fun. Every time we get together, it's just a barrel of laughs, right? Really quickly, is there any way my followers could follow you?
Yeah, sure. And thank you for having me on. I think it's one of those things that when I wrote it, I didn't realize the impact it was going to have. So I appreciate your support, and thank you for always supporting us. So I really appreciate it. We all do. We love you. And to follow us. So our YouTube channel and our blog are the same. It's firstclassrvadventures.com. And first is one ST. A lot of people like to spell out the whole word. So First Class RV Adventures. And if you go right on our website, the link for the YouTube is right on there. So that basically has everything on there.
Follow you.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
No, I just really appreciate your support. Thank you. Everybody, make sure you remember that you create your reality. So you have to break through those limits to create your reality. And sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow when our reality is not exactly where we want it to be. So I know in my past, I've had circumstances where they were horrible. And after I started really learning and growing, I realized like I created all those horrible circumstances. So I created that reality for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of our fears and our issues are self-made.
Mm-hmm.
So go out and get this book at Amazon. It's called Breaking Your Limits: How to Create the Reality You Desire. Author Sandra Crespo, thank you again for being on my show.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And remember to tell Lou that he's next. He's my next victim.
I will. He'll be excited.
I love you guys.
All right. Love you too, girl. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.